Okay, we're on Sheviit, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Zayin. So until now, in the last Mishnah, we learned that if you had Eser Nitiot, Mefuzarot B'toch Beit Sa'ah, if you had 10 plants, Nitiot, not trees, but 10 young trees that were spread over Beit Sa'ah, which is 50 by 50, 2,500 square amot, then the Mishnah said, Choshin Kol Beit Sa'ah Bishvilan Ad Rosh Hashanah. Then you were allowed to plow the entire Beit Sa'ah up until Rosh Hashanah. And we learned that was a kula, that was a specific leniency, specifically for young nitiot, because if you planted young trees and you didn't plow the ground around them, the water would run off and then the trees would die. As opposed to older trees, if you have older trees, you'll know that you don't really have to water them because they're able to reach down to the water table and water them and provide themselves their own water. So this Mishnah is a continuation of that Mishnah. It says our Mishnah, Hanetiot v'hadluim. Dluim are Egyptian gourds. Huge plant, and I guess they planted them a lot. It was a very important plant in their time. So whether it was a young nitiot, young tree, or a dluim, or the Egyptian gourd, mitztarfin l'toch beit sa'ah. So it doesn't matter if so the Mishnah seems to say that these are also. Let's see if I can format this. These gourds are also. If some of them are gourds, then those also are mitztarfin the beit sa'ah. A couple of Egyptian gourds. We'll assume that those are the same. Okay, the Bartanura says, Bidla'at Yivanit, Greek gourd, Dafka, specifically this Greek gourd, Shehigdola Ki'ilan, it's as big as a tree, Velo B'shar Gidluin, and it's not any other kind of Dela'at, any other kind of gourd. And he adds, the Yerushalmi says, V'tzarich shiu nitiot rabot al hadluim. You have to have, in this case, you must have more, according to the Tanakama, you must have more trees than duluim, than gourds. Then they count for the 10. And assuming I have a minimum of 10, so if I have to have a minimum of 6 trees and 4 and then maximum of 4 gourds, and then I can plow the whole Beit Sa'ah. Kigon shayu nitiyot shisha uduluim arba. Then mistarfin la'asara. Then it counts for the 10. V'choshin kol Beit Sa'ah bishvilam. That's the opinion of the Tanakama. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel Omer. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel says, Kol asara duluim the Beit Sa'ah choshim kol Beit Sa'ah ad Rosh Hashanah. It doesn't matter if you have. He disagrees with the Tanakama and says it doesn't matter if you don't need to have more trees than Dluim. Dluim are like trees, and even if all 10 are Dluim to a Beit Sa'ah, then you're allowed to plow the entire Beit Sa'ah until Rosh Hashanah. Okay, it's very interesting. You have these short Mishnayot. It's just very fascinating when you think about it. The Mishnayot, the first 2 chapters, it spends a great deal of time on this issue of Tosefet Sheviit, about what's considered Tosefet Sheviit. You would think you're talking about Sheviit, you want to get into, in the Mishnah, we'll get into what's considered Sheviit, what can you do, what can't you do. And it's just very interesting that the Mishnah takes such a great amount of time to talk about how many trees, if there's 3 trees or 10 nitiot, how many of them. It seems to strongly, I think about it a lot, because I prepare these Mishnayot, and it seems to strongly emphasize the notion of this idea of Tosefet, how important it was. One, you get the sense that Chazal felt very strongly they had to impose it, and impose it very strongly. And they had Allah Chadar Moshe Misina. In the times of the Beit HaMikdash, Tosefet was important. And they needed to instill it within us. It's so interesting. If you think about Shabbat, regular Shabbat, of the week, Tosefet Shvi'it is so inculcated, ingrained into us, that we have candlelighting 18 minutes before sunset, which is even before, sunset is Shkiyat HaChama, which is well before nightfall. And then we make a Kabbalah, you're supposed to accept the part of yourself Shabbat before. This idea of Tosefet is something that clearly has great significance, not just for Shabbat, but also for Shevi'it as well. All right, we'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, as always, rspolter@gmail.com is my email address, and I'll dedicate the learning to memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.